Gotcha.
Hey, how's it going everybody? It's the Game Economist, and today I'll be working on the Black Knight Greatsword. And of course, when I say Greatsword, I actually mean the Ultra Greatsword. This weapon is dropped by the Black Knights who are wielding it. One of the first Black Knights is near the Fair and Keep perimeter bonfire. You just walk backwards from the bonfire, open the gates, and he's standing right there. You can access that same Black Knight if you're using the Halfway Fortress bonfire, so either of those bonfires will work. If you're further along in the game and you've already beaten Champion Gundyr, then you probably also know that there's 4 Black Knights in that area, and that's a great place to get not just the sword, but the whole armor set. You can lure them over to the doors, they're not able to get past the doors, and then you can kill them real fast with, like, I don't know, a great club or some sort of casting, if you've got like sorcery or pyromancy, that works really well. So that's how you obtain the weapon. For the build, this is a quality build, right? So I went strength and dexterity, and I took my vitality high enough to wear the Black Knight armor. I have the Filianor chime because Tears of Denial is incredibly important. I don't think there are any builds where Tears of Denial won't make the build immediately better. There's like some caster builds where you can't afford it, but on a quality build like this, even though you have to go out of your way to bring it, I would still bring it. And then of course the Filianor chime just gives you access to Pray for Favor, which I'm a fan of Pray for Favor. You don't always get a chance to use it, but sometimes your opponent backs off and they drink like an Ashen Estus. You can really punish them by getting a little Pray for Favor out, right? And that'll heal you for about 250. That's why I like to bring it. Finally, I want to mention, if you want a stronger build, be sure to bring different armor. The Black Knight armor doesn't have enough poise. You can also think more about your utility items. So a sharp Manserpent hatchet maybe for cutting through shields, or you could do a deep Lothric longsword. You could bring a deep S-Stock, a deep washing pole, because you'll be able to access the washing pole with the stats that you're going to have. Alright, well let's move on to talking a little bit about the duels. In this case, my opponent and I had been dueling for a while, so we're both kind of familiar with each other at this point with all of our movesets, and he actually parries my rolling attack. That's because the rolling attack and the running attack on ultra great weapons are kind of easy to parry. You can do something called sight parrying, but I'm pretty sure he was just predicting it because he knows at the end of my roll, that's the only time that I can use a rolling attack, and he'll be able to parry before I'll be able to use a neutral R1, so it's safe for him to kind of test for that rolling attack. There's a lot going on in our rematch, so the first thing you'll see is right here he tries to backstab me. I just barely get out of that. Right after that, I put out a charged R2, and he was in a neutral stance, so that was a mistake for me. I should have put out a charged R2 when he's like very close range, but with him being in a neutral stance, he easily punished it. And now we're just trying to predict each other. Oh, he interrupted my hyper armor. That's how he did that. Instead of rolling backwards, I tried rolling around him, and he actually just kept attacking, and that managed to break my tier. So he's ahead at this point. Right now, it's easier for him to land the next hit than it is for me. So this is certainly in his favor right now. He's got his short bow because he's hoping to release an arrow if I attack him, but I refuse to attack. You can see he tried to throw out a little cheeky firebomb there. For some reason, it didn't hit me though. And there's his Reaper. The Reaper will deal chip damage through the shield. You can see I'm just kind of hanging back. There's no real reason for me to pressure him until I really think that I have a shot at hitting him. Oh, and there we go. And what I did wrong right there is I didn't hit confirm that R1. So a hit confirm is when you go, aha, I landed the R1, and then you move into the R1 combo. Instead, I just kind of threw out a single R1 because I was scared to keep going. I really should have kept going. I probably would have won the match if I had just hit confirmed that first R1.
Just a flesh wound.
All Alright, my next set of try-hard duels was against a player using the Black Knight Greatsword. He's got the case disc for perseverance. You can tell he's got the Lloyd shield ring. That's the blue hue that comes off of him. Basically, it gives him some damage reduction when I hit him on the first hit, and then he's going to swap to the Sun Princess ring after he takes his first shot. So he's going to be doing some ring swapping mid-game, and I don't do that at all, so I'm hoping to just kind of, basically I'm hoping to punish him while he's ring swapping. So there we go, there's the trade. I was kind of, you know, it's always about predicting your opponent, trying to wonder what he's going to do next. Like right there, I just predicted that he was ring swapping. That's why I did the running attack, where normally I wouldn't pressure as much. And now he's in a lot of trouble. You see, he got a little interrupt there. He didn't hit confirm just like I did earlier. He actually could have gotten a combo there. There's the rolling attack. I don't think he expected that either. It just comes out really fast, and I wasn't really panic rolling. I was just kind of rolling to this side. So there's a good game. You know, it's not impossible to beat the Black Knight Greatsword with an Ultra Greatsword. It's just very difficult. Alright, well here's one of our rematches. You can see I throw out an R1 and he immediately punishes it. I don't really like the one-handed R1 because of that. And then you can see he punishes me further because I'm trying to use the Black Knight shield, but he's just so fast that he's interrupting the hyper armor. Before the hyper armor comes out, he gets his attacks in, and it stops me from using my R1 while I'm holding the Black Knight shield. Me throwing out a little parry right there. Would have been funny if it landed though. So, you know, I'm still trying to trade. I finally swapped over to the two-handed set, and right there, why did that R1 miss? I don't understand. Like the follow-up R1, that definitely looked like he was standing right on top of it and he was not rolling. But the game didn't give it to me, so that's how it's going to be. Right there where he backed off, he was probably ring swapping. He just got the running attack, which I had really long range on that weapon. Kind of scary. It reminds me of like a spear or katana, really. And speaking of katanas, that was a swap over to the washing pole. You know, it looked like he didn't like that, so he brought the Black Knight Greatsword back out. That R2 I used might have actually caught him if I didn't charge it at all. And there's a perfect roll catch followed by a knife throw. Very good. So yeah, the Black Knight Greatsword and other reactive weapons, I feel like they have a little more control over the fight. They get to kind of decide what the next move is going to be, and the person using the ultra weapon is trying to predict what that's going to be so that they can make a trade. And I feel like it's always easier to be the one pressuring than it is to be the one reacting to the pressure, or more appropriately, somebody trying to predict the pressure, right? That's what you're doing. It's almost like gambling, though. It's like playing rock, scissors, paper, where you're trying, you know, you're in your head, you're like, he's going to use rock next, you know what I mean? Sometimes it works too, like sometimes your opponent starts to show kind of a pattern. You go, there's a good chance he's going to use rock next, right? That's kind of what it feels like inside of my head when I'm playing in these, kind of like these higher level duels and I'm using an ultra weapon. It comes down to that, and sometimes I'm right, sometimes I'm wrong. But the thing is, if I can be right twice in a row, which is difficult to do, but if I can be right twice in a row, then he's going to lose his Tears of Denial and the match is going to mostly be over. I mean, if I was also trying hard, I would probably bring out like a deep S-stock or a deep watching pole at that point and really try to get him with the throwing knives as well as running attacks. But I wasn't doing that here, I was just playing with the Black Knight cosplay. I had one more set of try-hard duels against a player who was using an S-stock turtle build. I really like that build, it's one of my favorites. And he does pretty well for the most part. That Black Knight shield is really tough because I have a pure physical weapon, and with my weapon being so slow, he has plenty of time to react. But this duel didn't go so well for him this time. What he does, he's going to use a poke attack in a moment here, right there. And basically what happens is, since it was a trade, he lost all of his stamina. And you can see what I did. I immediately started rushing and pushing him because I wanted to take advantage of him while his stamina was all the way drained. Alright, and just like before, I'm going to show you a clip of my opponent doing a little better than last time. So you can see I'm throwing out the R2 and the R1 combo. I was hoping the R1 combo he would like try to punish the first R1, but he didn't. You can see he went right for the backstab and just barely missed it. I almost got backstabbed there. So you can see he's just going to pressure me a lot now. You know, with me one-handing my weapon, it's just like earlier with the Black Knight Greatsword. If he throws out his attack as I begin my windup, I actually won't have hyper armor and he'll interrupt me. So he's just kind of spamming. He's not too worried about my Black Knight shield. And you can see I'm actually going for backstabs as well. Like if I can get behind him, I'll have a chance for a backstab, or he might try to roll away. And right there, we were both going for the backstab. That's what was happening right there, and it actually gave it to him. Probably just because his weapon gets a backstab faster than mine, because mine's an ultra. But yeah, he gets the backstab, and then he very sneakily swapped over to a deep S-stock. He did it Very, very fast. Takes a lot of skill to do that, right, guys? And I stupidly continued to block it, and that finished me off. Of course, I think he tried to do that in a rematch, and it didn't work because I realized he had a deep S-Stock with them, which is the right thing to do. You should have something to deal chip damage through the Black Knight shield with you, just so that you can kind of finish opponents off in situations just like that one. Alright guys, well I'm just going to play a few more of my favorite duels that I had with this weapon, and we are going to move on to invasions. Now in invasions, as you might expect, this weapon did very good. I actually like the two-hand vertical R1, because when you throw out the second one, it goes behind you, and so if somebody was trying to roll behind you for a backstab, you're going to catch them. Really useful. A lot of noobs don't know that, and it just kind of helps you in a group fight. But of course, the other reason I like this weapon is just because it has a hyper armor, just like all the other ultras. You know, if you're fighting two people at the same time, and you end up trading with one of them, you're going to be able to roll backwards right after the trade. If you were using a light weapon and you got stunned in the trade, his friend is going to walk right up to you, and then he's going to stun you. It's really, really frustrating. You know, he's going to get a free hit on you, basically, or he's going to surround you, one thing or another. But having that poise helps you roll backwards after you've used an R1. It's like a guaranteed escape route. and not getting surrounded is the #1 rule when it comes to being an invader. So that's really important. You know, of course, the drop attack is going to be really good on this weapon. The weapon art can pancake an opponent. That's useful because it means they have to stand back up before they can join the fight again. A fully charged R2 is going to launch players. All those things are really nice. The damage is enough that if your opponent is, you know, already about half dead, you're going to finish him off in one R1 combo catch, right? That's sometimes opponents get hit by like I don't know, like an AI, a mob, right? And then they're half health, and then you just, if you can get one hit on them, it's all over. Those little kind of situations, those matter. And yeah, so I thought it performed pretty well in invasions. Definitely an upper tier weapon for invasions. Alright, well there's just one more thing to talk about, and that's going to be PvE. I thought this weapon did really well. You know, if you had opponents who you could launch, you could just use the charged R2 on them, or you could use the weapon art and flatten them. That was really nice. It has pretty good DPS, pretty good output, especially if you're fighting demons, because you already have very high AR on this weapon at 40/40 strength dexterity. But on top of that, you get an additional 20% damage against demons. That makes this a pretty good weapon to use against the demon prince. Just something to think about. Of course, you could use any of the other Black Knight weapons as well. So if you just have like a preference for them, you know, you could use the Black Knight Sword, the Glaive, or the Great Axe. But if you're more a fan of Ultra Greatsword, you would use this one, right? So yeah, this weapon, just like Invasion, is going to get better ratings for PvE, because I thought it performed really well. Alright guys, well I hope you enjoy the invasion footage coming up, and I hope you stick around to the end of the video where I will have the tier ratings. Thanks for watching guys, and I'll see you next time.
Do it! Just do it!
Finish him! Help me!
Try me, bitch.
Nope.
Nope. Nope.
Double kill. I'm sorry.
Alright, we're calling a draw.
Watch your radar carefully, Fox. Keep your eyes open. Come on, Fox. What are you doing?
Be quiet, you little bogey!
Behind you, Fox. Stay alert.
Thank you.
The Black Knight always triumphs!
Yes. Oh, yes. Oh, I can't wait. Oh, I can't wait.